Paladins fans, welcome back for the last set of the day here. We're going to be kicking off the console wars here at Dreamhack Valencia. It's been a crazy day thus far, but we've got one exciting matchup left for you on the dock. It's the PS4 finals. We've got our European representative here as well as our North American representatives. I've been watching these guys warm up, and I got to tell you, everyone's in for a treat. You're not going to see any of what these guys have coming. Let's throw it over to our casters and kick things off. Thanks for sticking with us so far.
Well, thanks, Nick. We appreciate it. We're here as well. At least I've got one of these things here. Paladins Champions around. I don't know. Oh, I'm that guy. Okay, my name's Evan Rainday Gaming on Twitter. Rainer, and of course, this is Vox, Tempest, and Hugh Judson. But we really just call you Vox. There's just nobody calls you.
Like, nobody actually calls me by my. Well, okay, you spoiled it now, but it was a secret for a very long time until like H-R-X.
Well,
I've given it away slightly.
That's true.
Kind of, sort of.
We like to have a lot of fun here on our cast together. Vox, of course, the lovely Brit who just doesn't dance, doesn't go out.
I resent that. Lovely.
Little black guy who's moving more than he should on a cast. But of course, as we get into things, guys, it's an exciting event for us. Vox, you've been following the console scene for more than probably anyone here in the Paladins community.
Oh, I certainly have it on your screen. You can see the bracket right now for our showdown for the Paladins Console Wars. We have the PS4 finals going on, a best-of-7 set today. Invigorate Gaming versus Team Cryptic, Strictly Business and Gangstar, the Xbox squads from North America and Europe, respectively. And the winners of the platform finals will be heading through to face off against each other on the very final day of the competition.
And that's what's exciting about it. We've got this big culmination of the console wars. Who's better? PS4, Xbox? Nobody knows yet. We're going to find the answer out on Sunday. So make sure you tune in with us, as well as the Paladins PC Summer Premiere Finals that'll be going on that day. But we're jumping a little far ahead here. We've got two teams ready to face off. It's Cryptic, and of course, it's Invigorate. Basically, the top two contenders, Invigorate coming from North America.
They certainly do.
Tell me about this team, Vox.
Invigorate Gaming, they are headed by, of course, we can see on screen Graham right here, Grahamahlama, and he is an old PC player who was also had a lot of console experience, jumped at the opportunity to be able to play console, and you can see as we go down the lineup, we are hitting Uniquestrokes as well. We've got a lot of players with a lot of competitive experience on console, not just in Paladins as well. They're very familiar with the platform, and the whole process of Invigorate Gaming qualifying through North America has been absolutely fascinating. We actually see one of the substitutes joining us today, GoochMob. One of the players unable to make it here, so we do have a new addition to the roster. That'll make things a little bit interesting, as well as a second substitute, Shutter 750, as well as we move down the lineup. But Invigorate Gaming had a very, very close qualifying series with another North American PS4 team, Coastal Mayhem. Right at the end here, it is Sorrow, the man himself, the Barrack player especially, but Invigorate qualified by just 10 points of their opponents. It was very close.
Well, of course, their opponents today, it's going to be Cryptic coming through. I only Op B, that's the man right there that you're taking a look at with the long hair staring into the camera's eyes. The lens is his soulmate. Yeah, staring quite through, I would agree with that. Maglish over here, just, what's he doing there? Just basically blowing off the fingers. They're that hot, unbelievable console. Definitely taking the meme game up another notch. See AkimboMistiK, which we call him, but of course Akimbo and the cast running through it. stormavatar. Getting a little kiss of, I forgot, I didn't see what that was, but definitely kissed something on the cast. And now this man kissing his hands. Hopefully we watch those first, buddy, but he's ready to play. Swiper one coming through and definitely trying to be the one for his team to win the set for today. And of course, Cryptic, Vox, Invigorate. Who do you naturally give the edge to, given these teams' histories?
It's a very difficult one to go for. We saw very close PS4 in competition in North America. As we said, just 10 points between the two in the standings in first and second. On the other side of the pond, in Europe, we did see an undefeated set score throughout the entire duration of the weeks, 5 victories for Team Cryptic. But in every single set that we were able to broadcast, with spectator mode only coming in week 3 of the competition, it was taken to 5 games, 4 games, very, very close sets. Invigorate Gaming versus Cryptic. I don't really think I can give the edge to either one. They both have very distinct playstyles. They both like a very different variety of champions. Honestly, I feel like the game is going to go to whoever can adapt most to the other one on the fly. Do you pick away some champions which are strong in somebody's pool, or do you find the counters to them? Have you been doing your homework, and have you been practicing?
That's the big question these two teams are going to have to answer as they face off against each other here. Of course, PS4, North America, Europe. They're going to be battling off to see who will claim the Supreme region, as we then decide who will claim the Supreme Console on Sunday. So this is an exciting match for everyone involved. The crowd's ready. You know, for me, looking back at these guys, we had a little bit of time with Team Invigorate. Everybody was sweating It's a funny story. I believe it was Shutter. He actually went and bought ice cream for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I got to give a little bit of just a hint.
Some bias there.
Just a bit.
Got some regional bias.
I
and
mean,
some
you know,
ice
it was
cream
ice
bias.
cream
Wow.
in the Valencia heat.
Yeah,
That's a
okay,
nice move.
that's fair. That is very fair. But on the other side, of course, the team Cryptic, spoken a little bit with them as well. Also with their PC team, they've maybe talking a little bit back and forth, sharing some strategies. What can we translate from PC to console very well? What might we want to know about the enemy team, which we've discussed previously? What is the homework that's been done by maybe the team which has been around Paladins for a very long time?
Well, you're such a, you're a veteran in terms of understanding what's happening, but these guys say they do get hyped. Very similar to Cryptic, Cuss Cutie, Dosips, and the boys. These guys, they're going to start yelling if they get the win. Let's take a look at the maps for today. It will be Bright Marsh that we're heading into for the first game. Who does this favor, in your opinion?
Typically, we've seen Team Cryptic draft a lot of Bright Marsh throughout the duration of the European qualifiers. North America, not so much, but Bright Marsh certainly favors the console style of play. Specifically, we're going to see Inara here. We're going to see Ruckus. We may see a lot of Grok, potentially, depending on certain counter picks. Of course, Totemic Ward and the CC immunity, that legendary grants, bring a lot to the table, especially some Groks running high values of the Outreach card. So instead of having a totem this big, you have a totem this big. Comparatively, you can place your totem round corners much further away in safety and get a lot more bang for your buck in terms of healing. Probably not going to see Buck, though.
Yeah, probably not this time around, but we do see things like Acrobatics Pip come through.
Oh, yes.
Maybe not on this map, though, because of course it is tight, but
potentially.
Swiper's been one to pull it out.
Certainly has, and on Bright Marsh as well. The split verticality around the central capture objective does often allow the Acrobatics Pip to transverse the whole area, just straight to the backline, very easily dealing with some immobile champions. We see a lot of Tyra, we see a lot of Victor on console, and those can't run away from a Pip that just has so much mobility. It's been a very successful counter pick so far, but then again, that's why you may just see the Totemic Ward Grok coming out as counterplay.
One of the interesting things we saw there brought to my attention Saris in the background as we see Cryptic and Invigorate getting ready to go. In terms of healers, it's a little bit of a different meta in console. Maldamba largely left by the wayside.
Very much so.
Saris, Ying definitely jumping to the forefront.
On broadcast, just through the finals, we have only seen one instance of Maldamba being played, and that was Gankstars, the European Xbox team, pulling that one out to have a very tanky lineup on Jaguar Falls. But this is Bright March. It's Invigorate versus Team Cryptic. First pick coming through. It's a Ruckus. I'm loving this so far. It's a very neutral pick, as we have seen, often run with Aerial Assault, but Flux Generator is certainly not an alien concept to the team of Invigorate.
Ruckus is such a good first pick. It goes with almost anything, right? And you have the ability to also secure a great tank, put some pressure on a Cryptic, but immediately the Grok comes through and the Pip. Swiper is not wasting any time getting that Acrobatics Pip online.
No, and the great thing about taking Grok alongside Pip, we talked about Totemic Ward, that will just reduce the duration of the Evil Mojo ultimate if you're CC immune down to 2 seconds from 4, so it'll halve the duration. Just making sure that that counterplay is not built in is so valuable for Team Cryptic. They're very heavily leaning on this Acrobatics Pip. That also dissuades a certain style of draft from Invigorate Gaming. They don't immediately want to go into the Tyra or the Victor here without some kind of support to either keep them safe or alive. Maybe a Makoa might come out. We have seen that be very useful, specific counterplay to Acro Pip.
Well, the Inara obviously is here, available, ready to go. She's got the CC immunity, which could be a good piece against Pip, and just allowing her, obviously, a little bit more movement, whether it's just in the explosive flash slow that he's bringing to the battle.
Very much so, and we've got to bear in mind as well, with Inara's Mother's Grace legendary granting her crowd control immunity, very valuable, again, when dealing with Pip, not just the slow, but also the Evil Mojo ultimate, but also drafting Inara away from a squad who might want to pick that as a counterplay to Aerial Assault Ruckus is very valuable. Console specifically has been known to favor Treacherous Ground Inara, where your Water's Field applies a cripple effect, and that'll prevent Ruckus from using their advanced charges. So whilst we do wait for the draft to continue, if that is picked up against the Aerial Assault Ruckus, typically we see Ruckus is forced into Flux Generator here. They just don't want to contend with being snuck up on by a Master Riding Inara or something, comes from behind, locks them down, and then even though you have your emitter shield, even though you've got 4,400 HP and a repulsor field, focus fire from these players will take you apart very quickly.
Add a slow on top of that one as well from both the Shock Pulse and the Explosive Flat. I don't want to think about that. I'm already getting nightmares just from the idea.
Have you heard of this card called Resilience? You're gonna love it.
Oh,
it's pretty much the name of the game with Grok and Pip being on the board already. The dual slows coming out from these champions can be a nightmare to deal with, especially since the Acrobatics Pip will be mobile enough to, just travel the map and force you to rotate around onto them. That's a little bit more difficult if you're slowed down. You can't use your directional movement to help you turn faster. You are just limited to your effectively right thumbstick here.
what's interesting, Vox, is they forego the Inara. They grab the Barrack and the Victor. Obviously, Victor, very, very good on console. Just basically the realities of the way things aim and the way the console movement is. Victor is so much more effective than we typically see in the PC scene for the damage that he brings. And Inara scooped up by Cryptik, so this could be bad news for Invigorate.
It certainly could, but this is very interesting. So Ashe and Inara drafted for Team Cryptic. The support for Invigorate will be Maldamba. They've actually drafted a Tyra as well here, so they're getting double, very effective hit scan, very good point controllers due to the just swath of damage that can be output by these champions. Combo that with Firebomb, combo that with maybe a Ripened Gourd, hyper effective at controlling space. The important part as well of the Maldamba is that Dread Serpent can be used as a reactive fear to protect your Victor or your Tyra if they do get flanked in the backline. That might help turn the tide.
It's interesting because they've got two champions with Ashe, obviously, and Pip, who have a lot of mobility. They've got Inara and Grok, who don't really have a ton of mobility. Drogos, he's going to bring the vertical ability for them to just contend in the air. The one place I see Invigorate currently lacking is in those upper ledges, especially if the Tremors Inara comes through. Excuse me, the Treacherous Ground Inara comes through. How are they going to be able to contend with that aerial, presence that they have?
Dread Serpent, Crossfire, Dome Shields also very, very effective as well. We specifically see Barrack taken as a primary pick versus Willow in many situations on console. As soon as Fae Flight comes out, it's straight up Dome Shield. We might see that taken with Team Cryptic having drafted this Acrobatics Pip. But kicking things off here, Evan, Invigorate Gaming on the left-hand side, Team Cryptic on the right. Match is beginning. We're following along with Uniquestrokes. Initial positioning here for me is the most important thing.
Trying to get the Victor online. A lot of damage. Acrobatics Pip already in the air. So just wasting no time. Is Swiper the one? Already a lot on to Invigorate. Uniquestrokes, he will fall. Swiper finds a kill. Maglish finds another one. Ionly gets another one, and this is just 4 in a row. Invigorate has been completely wiped off the map, and Team Cryptic own the marsh.
And that's just not respecting the vertical movement that Acrobatics Pip brings to the table. Jumping twice in the air instead of jumping to move back and forth, just making sure they raise their verticality above other champions and force them to look up, and then the rest of Team Cryptic can collapse. The Inara can effectively sneak up to you because you don't know what's going on. You're focusing so much on the Pip. Swiper trying to escape here, very low on health, but will do so successfully. This is very good for Team Cryptic.
Already just complete command of the game. Swiper and the Acrobatics Pip, which has been known to be so devastating on console, proving its worth at the outset of this match. But can Invigorate change up the pace? Stormavatar on a 4 streak, getting a little bit of healing from the Grok, trying to keep things moving with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the push.
Now it will be interesting seeing how Stormavatar chooses to utilize this Drogos. Of course, without any of the potential airborne healing going up to them, we don't have a Mending Spirits, we don't have a Restore Soul from Ceres. As a result, if Stormavatar gets poked out, as they very likely will, with double hit scan on the enemy team in the form of Victor and Tyra, in fact, add Ruckus into that equation, Storm has to peek and dive rather than go for long extended engagements in the air and make very good use of cover. So far working out for them, Stormavatar already has their ultimate ready, and that has been used to take out Sorrow.
Invigorate crumbling like a cookie. Oh my goodness gracious. T-aside for everyone on the side of Invigorate yet again, and Team Cryptic are absolutely steamrolling the objective and now the payload push. It's 1 minute and 27 seconds left on the clock, and Swiper is single-handedly just bullying this Victor.
And how do you contest this? You've got ultimates, it doesn't matter, you're crowd control, you've got an evil mojo coming out, you're all chickens, there's nothing you can do.
And whether they're chicken or not, they don't want to get anywhere near the payload despite the reason, because they have consistently seen full team wipes here. Cryptic go ahead with a phenomenal first start of this game. And again, Vox, they're just proving to be the favorite, as a lot of people assume.
Clean and clinical, and Invigorate, if they'd studied the drafts coming through from Team Cryptic, they should know about the dangers of the Acro Pip, not just the damage, but the slow and the distraction as well. And as far as that goes, I mean, it just feels like Invigorate haven't drafted a counter. They're going with what they're comfortable with, but they need to be a little bit more versatile if they want to continue and maybe take some games off of Cryptic here.
The draft always had us, at least had me scratching my head a little bit. How are they going to contend? It feels like there's so much strength on Cryptic in an area that Team Invigorate just has none of. And so I'm not surprised to see this 2-0. What I will be surprised, though, is if Invigorate can pull this around, find a nice kill. They've got an opportunity with the comeback mechanic to really swing one big moment, one nice play into a point fight.
They very much do. And also bear in mind that ultimates like Evil Mojo were just used right at the end of that payload push.
Sure.
So with conversion going through to the side of Team Cryptic, that does leave the point fight to be more in advantage just in terms of ultimate efficacy potentially in the favor of Invigorate, but it is up to how they use them now. They've got to pick their targets. And you mentioned the remark of we don't have much verticality on the side of Invigorate Gaming. They've only got the Ruckus, who can get up to the high ground and force away the Acrobatics Pip. That's going to be very, very difficult to deal with.
It's going to be absolutely, I think, difficult for them to realize just once you've got that draft, almost how difficult it can be to change what you've started and put in motion with your lineup. But they're going to have to do it here. It's a best-of-7 set, so they've got time. Are you worried a little bit here at the start, though, just how dominant that first push was?
I think that we can see adaptation, but we are going to have to. Itemization across the board, though, actually only level 1 offensive itemization for Invigorate. So they're lacking the cauterized 2 pressure to shut down AkimboMistiK on Grok, and even Swiper's 1200 health healing potion up straight into the air they go, looking to drop a lot of damage straight towards Graham.
There's no way that Graham can win this fight here. Absolutely destroyed. Swiper has such a perfect angle on the upper ends of the Bright Marsh center building, and now Uniquestrokes yet again finding the tail end of Swiper's potions, and these ones, they don't heal, they do damage, and yet again, it is Cryptic in the lead.
And this just seems to be folly from Invigorate this time around. They knew that Team Cryptic would take the upper ground strategy, and they went out into the open area. We could have seen all of Invigorate collapse into the interior of the point fight, force the Pip to play around into the doorways, into the windows where they can be focused down, but instead, we saw them go into open ground once again, where they are vulnerable to AoE damage from above and be dismantled. Team Cryptic, second capture of the game, 3-0 in 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
And that's a great way to put it, Vox. Nothing. That's what Invigorate have had in this game. That's what they've done in this game. That's the impact they've made. Absolutely nothing yet. And so Cryptic are obviously enjoying the moment before Invigorate is able to make them work for some of these wins. It's been deicides all around the board. They've got 2 minutes and 5 seconds now to change that mentality on both sides and see if they can get a stalwart defense.
We need to see a prioritization on the 2 champions here on Team Cryptic from Invigorate, in my personal opinion. That doesn't actually bring us to Pip. This brings us to Drogos, because Drogos is the one bringing a lot of the majority of damage with their salvos and fire spit combos raining down from above. Secondary, Grok. When they activate Tempest, this is likely going to be used to look for conversion. The speed increase which will come through will try and drive that payload all the way there, but GoochMob hexifies into the back line. It doesn't find anything.
Does get the Drogos to start off, which is okay, but obviously, as you mentioned, Vox, not exactly what they were looking for in terms of huge impact. It will be enough for now to take down Swiper in that streak, and that's actually a good thing for Sorrow, who picks up the kill, gets himself a nice juicy bit of ultimate recharge at 30% now, and they're able to hold. Like we mentioned, Invigorate may be feeling a bit invigorated.
They certainly need to be, and right now this is very, very good for a team which has Barak in their lineup. Being able to get themselves established, buying themselves breathing room is going to be beneficial. Additionally as well, following that first initial point fight, Invigorate should have got their secondary tier offensive itemization online. Team Cryptic, they haven't advanced forward enough to get that extra 900 credits most likely. If we can actually see the items on screen, if we're able to pull those up, we will likely be able to tell if that's the case. But if Team Cryptic can pick up a few more kills here, if they make that a cauterized 3 in this payload push, that could be very dangerous.
Uh-oh, here comes Swiper. He's jumping in, and look at this. Explosive Flask on to 2. And 2 go down. In fact, everyone on Invigorate goes down. This is at least the 3rd time we've seen a full deicide, and that is a full victory for Team Cryptic in Game 1 of the PS4 Finals.
Clean, clinical, other adjectives which we could use beginning with C here, but very, very good play from Team Cryptic, understanding the benefits of this map and utilizing them to their maximum ability. The draft worked out very much in their favor. All through the duration of it, Invigorate Gaming didn't feel like their draft was out of place in a normal game, potentially, versus their North American counterparts, but maybe not adapting as well as they needed to the draft coming from their European rivals, as we can see in the scoreboard here, extremely one-sided.
Now we see here Graham, obviously the 1-8. Victor, Uniquestrokes 2-5, both 30 to 40,000 apiece, which was a decent amount of damage, but that damage came at a cost. Cost of mobility and a cost of the ability to contend with what Swiper, the one, was able to put together. 37,000 damage, 8-2, 16 assists to his name, highest in the game. Big factor, the probably biggest factor alongside stormavatar and giving Cryptic the win.
And that's just the draft coming out from Team Cryptic, right? They have double slows available to them. They have disruptive frontliners who can get up in the face of players and draw fire. The double slow basically means that stormavatar confirms direct hit after direct hit on Drogos, lands the salvos on everybody they need to. And that's why we're seeing such a massive damage score coming through here. 45k, and on your screen right now, it is stormavatar, the man of the hour.
Console Wars PS4 qualifier, obviously that puts him here. And they were the ones who were able to make it out a bunch of tight sets, but yet to lose an actual set. Coming from Europe, giving the crowd a little bit of a kiss. He kissed something earlier, I don't know what it was, but it worked.
It certainly did, and we'll see if it continues to work in game number 2 coming up next. A new map, a new opportunity for Invigorate to maybe throw a bit of a spanner in the works, and the draft so far of Team Cryptic. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about, do you go so far as to this early start counterpicking things away? When Acrobatics Pip is prioritized as a second pick for Team Cryptic, my thoughts are absolutely.
My thoughts are absolutely do something different. You guys didn't have any success with what happened. It's just a wash. Wash it off. Just say, hey, we didn't come out. We didn't play that game. We didn't play our game at all. Let's start from scratch. It's only one game. Serpent Beach is where they'll take their talents to next. And in this draft, I will be looking for Invigorate to not only maybe prioritize the Acrobatics Pip. If you can't play, if you can't have someone who can take that away, that's already going to be a thorn in your side the entire set. But really get themselves a bit more of a balanced composition. They need that vertical mobility. They need a little bit of at least some control, which I felt that they were missing in the course of their team fights.
And it's not just vertical mobility, it's burst potential as well. We saw a draft which was a lot of sustained damage coming out of them. It was a Victor, it was a Tyra. They don't have the ability such as maybe an Androxus or a Lex does to be able to chip away at their opponents. Speaking of Serpent Beach, the perfect ground for Androxus if there is a player on Invigorate who can utilize them.
Well, one of the things that I think you're right, Androxus is a good pick here, and why we didn't see him again. A little bit more difficult maybe on console to pull off what a lot of the professional PC players do.
We have seen some very high tier Androxus though. It would be exciting to see that come out again.
Yeah.
I certainly think that is a possibility, and as we head into the draft, I'm very excited to see what will be coming up. I think that Ruckus, though, is still going to be such a mainstay of the draft so far.
Absolutely. And you know, sometimes it's not the fact that Victor and Tyra aren't good picks. It's what are you fighting against? That's why you look at these champions, Bomb Kings, you look at the Drogos, you look at Acrobatics Pip. If you don't bring something that can contend with that, and you're already starting at a disadvantage, you need to be able to chase them down or engage in your duels in the right way. And all of a sudden, Ruckus taken and Saracen Pip. Who would have thought?
Yeah, the Pip coming online works very well with Ceres as well. We've seen some interesting combos of ultimates coming out from these two champions recently, changing the way in which we think they are most effective. Evil Mojo used before convergence confirms the fact that that pull will be in effect because you have no way to place a shield and dodge that, and Evil Mojo is guaranteed at least a 2-second effect. It's a devastating combo, but double support first on. This gives Invigorate the full run of all of their damage, all of their frontline, all the flex that they want so far in this game, and taking away an airborne champion here, they certainly needed that last game.
But I love the Drogos to start out. I mean, they just give themselves so many more tools to be able to deal with the champions Cryptic could select. They give themselves so much more area pressure, the fire spit, and the salvo bringing a lot of damage, especially in the console scene. And now Ashe being taken alongside Barrick will leave maybe one more tank opportunity open for Team Invigorate, as well as a healer who looks to be Ying.
Now, Ying is something which we certainly do see quite a bit of in the console scene. Fernando less so. I was expecting Inara here.
Fernando?
It fits. It certainly does. And flank Nando can be very effective for Invigorate Gaming. We've seen them utilize this very well previously during the online qualifiers. We'll have to see if it's as effective in a LAN environment as well. Maybe when some nerves are on the line after an initial 4-0 defeat.
Oh, yeah.
Tyra, the last pick then for Team Cryptic. And I really do like this as well. Point control, so important here.
Cryptic have a good draft in my eyes. Also, Invigorate have a good draft in my eyes and adapted. That's the big key for me. I don't want to see teams go ahead, get 4-0'd, and do the exact same thing, which we've seen. I've seen a lot of times in Paladins. These guys have realized that, hey, we have self-awareness. We know that we sucked, and we need to do something different. And they did. They grabbed Drogos early on. They opened up the Ying. They grabbed the Fernando at the end. Probably not what Cryptic was expecting here.
Now, the Fernando, that does bring a very interesting element to the game. This allows them with an Aegis Fernando or a Scorch Fernando, depending on whether they want to prioritize fireball pressure or shield pressure, to effectively frontline out in front of all the damage champions. It gives Invigorate the split possibilities of either playing reactively, waiting for the Pip to come to them, waiting for the Ashe to dive into their backline, or forcing the fight on their terms. And with the pace of the game being dictated solely by Cryptic previously on Brightmarsh, here on Serpent Beach, we must see a change.
That is, I think, exactly probably the biggest point to harp on. Can they control that pace? Can Fernando get into the back line and really just help to set the tone for the fight early on? And we saw Pip was the one who set it for Cryptik so early with just hitting a couple explosive flasks onto multiple members like Victor and Tyra, who just couldn't move and were dead to rights. After that, let's see if Invigorate are able to bounce back after that crushing loss.
They need to be able to here, but Cryptik also have a very good draft of their own. They've got point pressure with Barak. They've got phenomenal combos with Ceres and Pip pulling everybody in. That's going to work out quite well with Pyra's Molotov pressure.
That's true.
This is also an element that we should talk about a little bit. We're on OB52 for the Console Wars tournament.
Yeah.
We're not further forwards now. We know that in OB54, Tyra's Molotov will damage deployables. Currently, that is not the case. So Ying is going to be able to sustain quite well through those. If we see a firebomb go out towards those illusions, it's not going to deal any damage to them, and we are straight to the first objective fight.
Well,
4% and rising for Invigorate. Team Cryptik, they are finding difficulty getting onto the point, but are able to do so now.
Now, despite the fact that Invigorate are 54% up, it does seem like Team Cryptik have finally taken the lead in the objective fight, though it wasn't as easy as before, and that's a good sign for Invigorate heading into more matches here. And of course, Serpent Beach maybe looking like the first point won't go their way. Acrobatics Tip returning from a little bit of a battle onwards, and probably not enough time for Invigorate to get back on the point.
Able to get straight back to the fight, and he healed up by Ceres very quickly, straight back into the engagement, and now Maglish charging in on Ash is going to make Fernando's life difficult, as that little shield there, it's about the same size as the Siege shield, they can just shoot around it, and notably with Cauterize equipped as well for Maglish, they're going to be applying anti-heal, making those Ying illusions less effective to everybody hit by their AoE shots.
That's going to be an important factor here. 2 minutes and 4 seconds left on the clock. Invigorate now defending. Team Cryptik looking to make it 2-0 if they can. Fernando definitely helping to just give a little bit more time for Invigorate to group up, get their game plan ready, and go back at Cryptik with a big punch. Crossfire is ready, activated though, and this is GoochMob falling close to death. Gonna jump up in the aerial assault ruckus and just get away.
He is, and at the same time, the firebomb goes out from Tyra again. Barrage comes down from Invigorate to try and stem some of the pressure. Very, very low on health is this Fernando. Sorrow cleaned up by Swiper. Convergence as well. This could be big.
GoochMob finding the damage and now has to go to the point, but the Hunter's Mark will melt him like a grilled cheese sandwich, and he's gonna go down easy as can be. Like a Sunday morning, this guy is not able to, I don't know, find himself really anywhere that he needs to be. No work to be done. They go down 2-0 yet again.
You know, you remark on something interesting there. The Hunter's Mark allows champions to be melted very easily. Talking a bit with stormavatar, between the qualifiers and the console wars now, we often find that Tyra on PC is played with, you know, the life rip equivalent. We've got First Blood Tyra, or we have maybe your execution from Mercy Kill. But console, specifically stormavatar, a very big fan of Hunting Party, and this works well to augment the playstyle of Acrobatics Pip. A lot of Pips we see on PC run Catalyst for the bonus damage, which allows them to charge their ultimates more quickly. Stormavatar running Hunting Party grants 15% bonus damage on weapon shots and abilities fired out by any member of Team Cryptik towards a specific target, basically making up that damage deficit.
So interesting to see these unique legendaries run, and of course that getting reworked in OB54. A lot of changes in the new tab. Also those good old Paladins, and of course Uniquestrokes. He does the good old thing, punches Baron with Drogos. Stormavatar follows up on the kill, and now Swiper the One trying to do some business, and he goes ahead and takes down GoochMob.
Is able to, and just the slow from that explosive flash meant they took so many more shots than were really, really necessary. Returning to the objective fight, only Op B is going to get themselves established now as Barak if they can, but actually it's to the high ground to fight this out versus the frontliners and the Victor here. Able to take him down very, very easily. Invigorate Gaming are not playing as a cohesive unit.
And now Cryptik again with the lead, and no comeback mechanic for them, but they don't need it. They're just absolutely snowballing these team fights and proving that they are the better squad, at least as of now, over Invigorate.
Now, I really like the positioning of Maglish as well, charging their battering ram. Now the Assert Dominance comes through, waiting on the objective, blocking a head supply. The positioning from Maglish has been supreme, not going out to zone as well. They were ready for the flank to come through, sitting there with Kinetic Burst charge, forcing away everybody from the objective, and the kills one going to Cryptik.
Fernando doing a little bit of walking there, just making sure that he can just have a presence in the fight. Sorrow doing his best to hold on, but there's nothing to hold on to at this point. 93%, 96, double kill for Swiper, and that's one more objective. 3-0 goes the score for Team Cryptik on Serpent Beach, looking to close out their second win of the set.
Poor Drogo's here as well, just isolated and alone. Uniquestrokes must wait for that thrust cooldown to come back up. They can go to the high ground, but waiting there is Swiper. This is so difficult for Invigorate to fight into because of the mobility granted to Swiper currently, letting them be when nobody expects them to. And of course, if you fight down the main payload path, you've got Hi-Rez sitting there waiting for you. You've got Ashe who's just sitting there brawling out with everybody. It's devastating to try and come up against. We've got to see better ultimate combos from Invigorate to capitalize on this, but Team Cryptic have all the answers.
GoochMob with the hunting mark as well. Again, just forcing them back into the base. Invigorate can't even get out to save themselves. The payload is about 70–80% converted. Minute and 40 seconds left, but I doubt they're going to need more than 30 seconds more. A convergence comes through, knocks 4 members into the fight. And the fray, Swiper, Storm, get 2. Uniquestrokes find Swiper, but this is clearly all Cryptic.
And most importantly there, stormavatar with 2 kills. Uniquestrokes able to answer back slightly. It was the firebomb that did the work for Team Cryptic. Following on that convergence, percentage-based damage of their maximum health, following a stun from Ceres' ultimate as well, Team Cryptic are just sitting here cool as a cucumber. And Invigorate Gaming don't know what hit them. Another 4-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Johnsons. Oh, so good. This music is too good, Bob.
It is, it is. We're jamming, the players maybe not so. You can see at least Team Cryptic seem to have smiles on their faces here, looking very confident. And oh my goodness, that gaze as well, just ready for the fight to begin. But on the screen right now, it's the scoreboard.
I'll gaze into your abyss.
Okay.
Wasn't talking to you, Vox.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
That delicious.
I thought we were going to hit the pool later as well.
We might.
We might, if there's enough time.
You got to show me that you got some moves, man.
Oh,
a little
man.
stiff up here.
You know I can't dance.
Music up here.
Have you seen me?
I definitely
I'm like a robot on stage.
Yeah.
It's like, have I held a microphone before?
That's why you need this, man. Swiper
Absolutely.
won again, 14-2. Stormavatar, Maglish, they decided not to die this game. 33 and 45k damage apiece. In their name, AkimboMistiK with 64,000 healing, tripling Shudder on the opposite team, who didn't find a kill, died 7 times, and was unable to help Sorrow be impactful as well. 0-6 and 2. But let's not talk about things that didn't go right. Let's talk about Swiper and Team Cryptic, because it seems like everything's going right for that guy.
It certainly did. Swiper able to just navigate to the backline of the enemy, drop some damage, get out of jail free. They will go from low ground to high ground and back again, just confusing everybody where possible. And Swiper also a really interesting player to talk about in the console wars. You know, we've talked to these players beforehand, got a little bit of info on them. Swiper, 17-year-old kid, has been fighting to play competitively with Paladins for a while now, and all through until Dreamhack Valencia, it was a very uphill battle for them. As soon as that ticket came through, all of a sudden the hard work they've been putting in has been paying off and attitudes changed, and that's something which is so rewarding to see here on the Dreamhack Valencia stage, and it's working out for them as well. It's looking so good.
It's got to be great for the budding team in a budding scene to come through and have such a dominant performance. You know, Invigorate, you could see Shudder not looking too excited right now, but that's okay. You got to keep yourself obviously in the game, in the mentality. That's one of the most important things. You know, we mentioned Valencia as a real life thing. These players are here, they're sleeping in the beds, they're having dynamics.
I'm waiting for an opportunity to Grover pun. May I?
No, you can't Grover pun. I'm not going to let you, Vox. It's the end of the day. No more puns for you. He's still probably going to do it.
I'll get you.
Guys, by the way, before we get into anything else, let's talk about the Paladins Console Wars. Returns at HRX 2018.
Oh, yeah, it does.
That's right. A budding scene, budding here. I'm saying budding a lot, but it is. It's just starting, and it's so, I don't know, fruitful.
Your language is more flowery than Grover's.
Oh, my God. Stop it.
There it is.
And now, of course, you guys can see those flowers continue to bloom.
Any opportunity.
Yeah, like they were in spring, because HRX will have another console tournament. So for all of you getting interested now, want to maybe sign up yourselves, or all the teams here, maybe the winners, of course, you'll have a chance to continue that winning streak in January. So heading on to the next map, Fox, we do have Frog Isle, which if it's anything like the last maps, won't matter, because Cryptic have absolutely just dominated Invigorate.
Well, it's a tricky one. Frog Isle typically
Is it tricky?
It is slightly more tricky, because Acrobatics Pip, whilst useful and being a very keystone point of Cryptic's play so far, does not work out as well on Frog Isle as it does on other maps. And here's why.
Yeah,
we have the split verticality of maps like Bright Marsh and Serpent Beach, where around the objective, you've got a high ground point where you can sit on above the objective and drop damage down. On Frog Isle, you got a couple of little ledges and some walls around the area, but for the most part, if you want to be up and over the objective, you're in mid-air, and that means what goes up must come down. You're landing at some point, and that makes you vulnerable. So, less acrobatics pip, maybe more something a little bit different. Swiper actually known for their Androxus play. One of the better Androxus players on console. Definitely watch out for that, but I'm wondering if Invigorate might go so far as to pull out an EV pick on this map. It actually swamped them in certain weeks, with Coastal Mayhem pulling that out against them on the map Frog Isle, but they quickly were able to pick that up themselves and do a lot of very good work with that champion.
You know, Invigorate, to me, they seem a little bit despondent, but they don't look out. They definitely know that some things have to change. Sorrow there, as you're looking, still focused, still talking to his teammates, and absolutely ready to kick butt if he has the opportunity to do so. They are going to need to switch things up.
Yes.
There's not, don't have the chance to do it again and just, you know, we're basically at game 3 here. What is that champion that needs to come in?
I feel like that depends entirely on the draft that comes through, but with point stacks being quite common, especially in the console scene, we often see Tyra's Firebomb used to break that up. Another champion that does this very, very well and hasn't been utilized so far that I would like to see, Willow. Now bear with me on this. Willow has Dead Zone, Willow has Seedlings. That denies objective pressure for the team of Invigorate if they go so far as to choose it. But also, we talk about how, well, Acrobatics Pip is difficult to deal with if they're up in the air. Willow and Fayflight, equally as devastating.
I agree with that. Willow is a champion I always vote for seeing in the PC
Speaking
realm.
of flowery language.
Yes, because why? She has a flower that she shoots?
She's sort of a flower.
Well, she's a fairy.
Yes.
Fairies are not flowers.
Fair enough.
But she does shoot out of a flower. I will give you that one for sure. And she's got a legendary called Blast Flower.
This is true. She seems to have a certain, maybe...
nature.
A little bit. I wonder if she's friends with Grover. Maybe mortal enemies.
Ooh.
Grover has vines. Those tend to, like, not be a good thing.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe. But first pick coming through is Drogos for Team Cryptic. They want the area damage on their side. Answer back by Invigorate with Ruckus and Ash going for double damage reduction and strong area point control. But Cryptic with Bomb King and Ceres here, they've gone for double AoE.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and that's a lot of damage. And Cryptic have shown that whoever they get on their side, they're ready to use them effectively. Victor, once more for Invigorate. The first pick, Ruckus, hasn't worked out for them thus far, but maybe this will be the time that it changes because they paired him up with a brand new healer, Grok.
The problem that I'm seeing so far with this lineup from Invigorate is that they're going to have to rely on Siege Shield to do the to effectively remove Cauterize from them, or make very use of cover and corners on this map of Frog Isle if they want their Grok to be effective. Now, it's not something which we won't necessarily see, but it's tricky. Whereas Cryptic, they're going to run Ceres, Makoa, and Inara. Very easy to get out of line of sight of Cauterize application, sit behind the impasse wall or under a shell shield, and with Ceres having 3,000 health restored over 3 seconds, that's going to be quite difficult for Invigorate to deal with. They're choosing Charlene as the champion that they want to be able to be that crutch for them, be something different.
He's definitely a guy that can do damage quickly. He's got his own form of burst, you know, 1,000, an arrow, which is relatively quickly firing because of the recurve legendary a lot of players take. I'm sure in the console scene, is that still the premier legendary for Shaolin?
Typically we do see recurve. However, what I'd love to see, specifically from the Shaolin, whoever's playing them on Invigorate, I'd like to see that Desert Shadow legendary, where they're able to withdraw, last for 3 seconds longer. We're going to have Cryptic not using an Acrobatics Pip as a flanker this time around. We're going to see Bomb King, most likely, traversing the map with Accelerant as their Poppy Bomb legendary.
Yeah.
And that means if you're able as Shaolin to get out of sight, to be able to stay in stealth for a second and allow your team to be able to rotate and respond to you, the chances of you being able to turn that fight around are much more important. And if you can turn that 1v, maybe 1 in the backline to a 2v1 in your favor, and then a 5v4 on the objective, that could mean all the difference for Invigorate.
Drogos as well, definitely vulnerable to Shaolin in the air on Frog Isle. So Invigorate draft a lineup. We haven't seen them, again, mixing in new champions like Grok and Shaolin, bringing back some old ones that hadn't worked like the Victor, and maybe hoping they can stay away, especially with Cryptic's Acrobatics Pip off the table in Frog Isle, and find a victory at last.
Would you say that Invigorate are ready?
They might be. They might be ready.
Ready? It's all B52.
Yeah.
Maybe not that many readies just yet.
Maybe
but
a couple patches.
They're certainly charging towards the objective very quickly. Graham taking the high ground, throws up initial grenade, gets some poke off, and a dismount. That's very crucial.
Victor is still in the back line as well, just keeping up the damage, but having no significant pressure thus far. This is a great sign for Invigorate, who have found themselves at the lead in terms of overall damage dealt, but Invigorate, wow, they lose Ash to some big bursts.
They certainly do, and whilst that burst is mitigated partially by Repulsor Field on the objective now as Ruckus is sitting there, Swipe is able to be airborne. Right, a Grumpy Bomb does get taken down by Uniquestrokes. Gotta respect the burst, but equally so, stormavatar, this time around running combustible Drogos, has plenty of burst of their own.
Bill Shotland, relatively uncontested, moving closer and closer, pressuring out stormavatar with those arrows, and Victor able to move them back to the point where Invigorate here, 99%, are going to capture the first objective of this PS4 finals here on console.
And whilst Invigorate whilst Team Cryptic do have a good late game draft here, a lot of burst potential, a lot of very high damage, especially shield killing potential from their Drogos, from their Bomb King. We've got to bear in mind that Invigorate early, they've got damage reduction from Ruckus, and there is nothing better than that to keep you alive.
There's the ready, as you mentioned, Shaolin breaking down that Makoa shell shield and using the Wrecker to do so. Very limited hits. In fact, Wrecker 3, Shaolin only needs 3 shots to take down a full barrack shield. So the power of that item, the power of this champion, definitely not one to be reckoned with if you're not careful.
And what's very important as well is that Invigorate captured the neutral objective here. All of their team have gained 300 additional credits after the initial fight going in their favor as well. We saw in the pockets of Shaolin 600 total. That'll allow them to have Wrecker 2 online this early into the payload push, giving them a slight advantage over Team Cryptic already.
And what most of them haven't done is die. In fact, you see GoochMob actually fall for the first time in this entire match after capturing the objective, and so now he's finally able to go spin those credits. The Wrecker 2 is online for Uniquestrokes here, and so as they die actually here in this push, they're going to get a little bit stronger with this last minute going in.
They do have to be careful of it. Grumpy Bomb will provide a little bit of zone for the time being. Uniquestrokes does get stunned down, but no follow-up damage, no real concern there. And as you can see, Dennis Shadow, the legendary, picked up on choice, but here comes Bomb King.
Big time ultimate Grumpy Bomb. Doesn't really get much out of it. And actually, Swiper will go down. GoochMob with 2. Grahamahlama figures 1 out for himself. And Invigorate may just have solved the Cryptic puzzle, unlocking this defense quite well, with Victor still pushing forward.
And it was a great use of Hexify there. The CC immunity grounded by that ultimate, picks up a couple of kills. Nice follow-up following the King Bomb ultimate with Seraphim's convergence, making sure that the stun was active before you could pull people in. But again, CC immunity says hi, and all of a sudden, the kills keep on flowing.
Look at this Victor, the barrage, not able to see the Bomb King, so doesn't get the damage. In fact, gets killed by Maglish. He's got a great heads-up hook to pull in the Russian.
Feels like Maglish was able to pull the Graham there all the way across from Serpent Beach. You know, like that hook traveled across the map, but threading the needle, Maglish, really important for Team Cryptic to be able to set up a lot of kills here. That's going to be vital to displace champions like Shaolin and Victor.
Ruckus thinks like he wants to go in, gets pulled towards it. It will mean an overtime, most likely starts contesting. He's got a little bit of healing, but not enough. It's still not the call to remove because Ash is here. Shaolin gets taken down in the back line. I only Op B finishes him off. And this could be, most likely will be Team Cryptic just defending and Invigorate backing on off.
They're going to give this one up. They don't want to continue fighting. They know that Team Cryptic used ultimates like conversions. They don't want to give anything more in terms of ultimate charge towards Cryptic. They want to have the advantage going into the next round. Even if it's just tied up 1-1, there's no point in doing the EU Conga and throwing yourself at the wall. You've got to hold something back in the tank to be able to meet and match your opponents head on if necessary.
I find it fascinating just watching the players as they get themselves ready in between rounds. So many different players have different things that they do. Some are staring intently at the screen, others kind of checking the crowd, you know, scratching their shoulders, looking at their other teammates, trying to see how are we feeling, how are we looking. A lot of this LAN experience is something that these players are new to, and some veterans. So it just depends. There's a whole smorgasbord of, I think, talent and experience in this console scene.
And you very much hope that your team maybe has one of those veterans online that is able to keep people's heads clear if necessary. Straight to the objective again, Invigorate Gaming go, but can they hold it down this time?
Shaolin firing yet again. Here comes seismic crash from Anar. She's actually going to get nothing from that. Grahamahlama finds 2 kills on top of that missed ultimate, and now Heat Haze pop from Shaolin, looking to finish off 1 kill. Can he find The Inara, I only op B's running away with his life, but not gonna keep it. That's Uniquestrokes, and this is all Invigorate.
Beautiful use of the Totemic Ward legendary to Grok. Makes sure that CC from Inara has no effect, hitting the gas pedal down on Charlene. Just the bonus movement speed it's seen, the faster draw rate, just forcing out their opponent's Team Cryptic. Find no efficacy in that point capture, despite having 4 out of 5 ultimates available. Invigorate just roll them.
Shaolin is heat haze, allowing him to, as you said, draw faster, so shoot faster, and also go invisible, create these clones whenever he fires. Creates this really good win more type of situation. Of course, here's the Tempest coming through, the Bomb King ultimate. Not going to find as much value as Swiper would have liked thanks to the clumped up enemies, but Shudder does go down, so that is Brock out of the picture. Team Cryptic probably being able to push back Invigorate.
Problem is, Graham keeps on firing, the damage keeps on coming through. Cauterize 2 reduces all the healing. At last, we're going to see the retreat coming through. Just too much area denial from the squad of Team Cryptic, who notably as well are still holding on to a lot of ultimates here, but Invigorate can easily find a way back through if they can get an isolated pick.
1 minute, 40 seconds left onto the clock. Swiper the one, looking for that Bomb King play that obviously everyone dreams of. The big 5-man stun, follow up with the bomb. stormavatar taking his damage and putting it to good use. Finds the kill onto the Ash. And look at this, the Hexafire started off by GoochMob.
Once again comes through straight into Ancient Rage is Maglish trying to charge around the outside. Actually pulls them straight back in. GoochMob gets the kill. Barrage coming down from Graham as well. Sets up so much kill potential around this payload for Invigorate. Team Cryptic might have just shot themselves in the foot there, and now they're being forced out by Sorrow, who with Cauterize 2 available as Ash can just take this Drogos down out of the air. Sarah's healing doesn't even matter at this point.
All they've got to do is find themselves a little bit of a kill. Keep it staggered. You're fighting 3v5 right now. If they can keep this up, and it looks like they might be able to. Swiper going down. They're still fighting 5v4 as they continue to roll out of the payload.
Sorrow's just shooting shots around corners at this point. You've got to get back towards the Grok. Got to bear in mind that without a Ceres on your team, without a Malzama, without some sort of range to stay, you've got to be around that healing token in order to stay alive. And they have been picked off, but that's opened up the angle with that focus on the frontliner. For Graham to get straight to the backline. Uniquestrokes already has 2. Graham finds 5 in a row.
Wow. Gotta stop this Victor. Graham is just on a tirade here. 3-1 for Invigorate. Team Cryptic now in definitely the passenger seat of this game. It is all up to Invigorate to lose this one.
Well, Team Cryptic are in a lot of trouble here. The draft working out very, very well for Invigorate Gaming, but also, not just that, the execution. You know, the ultimates that we've seen so far from the side of Team Cryptic just haven't seemed anywhere near as effective as what's been used previously in the last couple of games. The convergences haven't capitalized on really any CC or follow-up, largely mitigated by Totemic Ward, of course.
Yeah.
But then again, the King Bombs as well, they found stuns, but no follow-up damage. I'm wondering what the miscommunication is there and why that's lacking.
It's a smart pick going into the Totemic Ward Grok. We've seen it be more and more kind of a feature on PC, and as console, you know, develops their own metas, showing to be so effective in these usually very valuable AoE stuns and damage dealing abilities, just getting completely mitigated, probably just as easy.
And what's interesting this time around, Invigorate don't go straight to the objective. They recognize that there could be a danger zone coming through. Seismic Crash has been used though. Poppy, King Bomb, explosions come through. Totemic Wood Grok, baby. It just wins games.
This Grok Totem is unreal. The CC immunity not only immunes the Seismic Crash, it immunes the King Bomb. And they just have their plan in the books. We asked what champion did they need to bring Vox? Apparently, it's Grok.
Can I see some smokes in Twitch chat, please? I would love to see some smokes in Twitch chat right now, because Grok is just hands down holding Invigorate together and forcing Cryptic
96,
with another
99.
game. Capture.
Invigorate, take the W and make this a set, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going anywhere. The Grok, the Totemic War, the CC immunity, and look at Shudder telling the crowd to raise their hands and clap for him. This guy bought me ice cream yesterday, and now he's clapping. I'm just saying things that happen.
Yeah?
Stating facts.
You sound like a play-by-play caster.
Bought me ice cream yesterday, now he's clapping. Look at this. Team Cryptic, absolutely a little bit more sullen than they were, Vox.
No, but at the same time, Invigorate Gaming, we talked about how both these teams are maybe momentum-driven with smiles on their faces. It sets a new trend for Invigorate, and maybe something which they can build on here. As we see in the scoreboard stats, a great performance from all the players of Invigorate, especially players like Graham as well, on Victor, able to capitalize on so much. Now, whilst not as much damage as Uniquestrokes, died once the entire game as Victor.
That's what's so impressive to me. And he took fights that were dangerous, that you could easily die on. I mean, he had basically 70% health, took 2 down in the corner as they were pushing that payload.
He did. At some points during team fights, there was Totemic Ward. That's the backup that you need to know. Is totems down, and all of a sudden, you're like, I can fight here. I'm not going to get displaced by Makoa, which is one of the most dangerous things to happen to Victor. And then again, the play that we saw coming through from Ash for the duration of that game just forced the attention to the frontliner away from Victor, allowing this flank Victor style of play. I mean, they weren't running cardio, but they definitely didn't skip leg day here today.
They absolutely didn't.
On a bit of a sprint.
Victor was not only a big impact, but you're right, the space created because of Ash was huge for a champion like that needs this space, because when he gets up front, up close, he's got distance he can travel, but not quick gap distance like Cassie's, like Drogo's, like Bomb King champions,
very much so,
like Eevees that can really get away.
And then again, displaced by Makoa, one of the most dangerous things that can happen to them. Also notably, interesting to see how especially the 5-5 Victor did pair up against Bomb King at times. My prediction was that Bomb King's going to play more like a flanker. Saw it happen initially into the game, and then very rapidly you realize that whilst Bomb King can have 2600 health with it's King's New Cloak 4, if I'm not mistaken, and they do a lot of damage. They have very, very high DPS. So does 5-5 Victor, and if you get up close enough to be effective as Bomb King, playing like that flank playstyle, 30% bonus damage coming out of the hip 5 Victor, not missing any shots, ooh, your health just melts. It's like me right now at Valencia.
Just melting. The temperature is pretty hot in here. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
And it's definitely
I grew up in the UK. We're not used to this.
Box is like 80 degrees is hot. I'm like, man, I don't know where you're from.
And then I say Wales.
Yeah, he says Wales.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right,
apparently not a country, according to Cret.
I don't know what Cret's thinking. Cret's not here, though, one of the designers on the game, and definitely, you know, he's put a lot of energy into what you guys are watching today.
Certainly has done.
These two players, these two teams have put a lot of energy into getting this far. We thought it was over. Cryptic looked like they were sweeping the board. Now, Invigorate have been invigorated, and they're going to take their talents to, I believe, Frozen Guard.
Another map which we have seen Invigorate favor throughout their North American qualifying sets, often splitting it with Coastal Mayhem. They've certainly learned the ins and outs of this map. And again, another map where Xiaolin comes into play very frequently, as does the Winter Witch herself, Eevee, as that causes a very dynamic split focus between a backline target behind you and a very dangerous prickly planted straight in front of you.
Prickly planted?
Yes, like a porcupine.
Oh, like a porcupine. I thought you were going to say like a prickly pear.
Like a prickly pear?
Yeah.
I can't sing the song, can I?
No,
okay.
Not at all. Won't allow you. There it is.
No
Paladins. Best game, throwing up the gold and the blue. Invigorate. They'll just take the red hair. That's Ash starting things off. Interesting first pick, but hey, I gotta say, the Ruckus was not that devastating as a first pick for them.
No, it wasn't, and that will go instead to Cryptic this time around. Now, speaking of maps where Acrobatics Pip is maybe less effective, not a lot of high ground splits for the map of Frozen Guard. It'll be interesting to see how Swiper's going to utilize it this time around, as Ruckus and Pip have been drafted for them. But we do have to remember that the point fight is open to the peripheral edge of the map, not the cliff side, of course, but the interior side of this Frozen Guard map. And if we can see Pip traverse from one side to the other to these corner crates very rapidly, they are quite difficult to deal with. They've got a very good gap opener and closer and a free line to the point through that angle.
Ying Victor drafted alongside Ash for Team Invigorate. A few seconds left for Crypt to select their third and fourth picks as we head into the later phases of the draft. Ruckus and Pip been mainstays in this lineup. The only game that Pip was not played for Cryptic is the game that Cryptic lost, so they go back to winning ways. And I don't blame them.
They certainly don't, and neither do I. Grok and Inara picked up them for Team Cryptic, drafting the Stone Warden as a secondary frontliner to help supplement this Ruckus. Usually the Ruckus played more of a flank playstyle, a little bit more mobility, depending on whether they're going with the Flux Generator Legendary or their Aerial Assault. But Inara just useful on a map like Frozen Guard, where they can lock off with air and pass certain entry areas to the objective and buy time for their team when necessary. But Invigorate, this is interesting. Xiaolin, as we stated, also Barrett going for the double deployable Nightmare. No big source of area damage that's very, very good at breaking up this lineup so far from Team Cryptic. Pretty much forces out maybe a Drogo's here or a Bomb King, and it will be Drogo's, in fact, that we see as our last pick.
They're definitely going to struggle a little bit unless Xiaolin and Victor can get themselves going. And I mean, they need to win the duels between Pip very quickly. They've got to get Grok out of this fight. And Nar and Ruckus have so much staying power as champions and Paladins that with the combination of Drogo's and I think the CC immunity that Grok can bring with the Totemic Ward, it is going to be a very tough point fight for Barrick, Ash, and Ying to sustain.
It will be. That depends how quickly they can focus down this Drogo's, and Key to this, I think, is going to be how good we see Shaolin play for Team Invigorate. How good we see Victor, as you mentioned. They've got to be able to hit these aerial targets. They've got to make sure that they are landing maybe the Impaler arrows to shut down Pip and Drogos, to make sure that they're stunned so we can have easy kill confirmation. If the skill shots aren't there, Invigorate are fighting in a very uphill battle, especially the longer that this game goes on, the more that becomes apparent as Cauterize gets online for Cryptic, shutting down the Ying AI-based healing. Comparatively, Grok is able to place that totem around the corner much more effective as we get into late game.
Frozen Guard as we head into game is the map the teams will battle on. Cryptic, 2 wins in this set. Invigorate Gaming just got their first. Will they make it 2 and tie things up, sending another game before we can probably find the results of this
another
set.
one.
Or, of course, in this best of 7, will Team Cryptic take a 3-1 lead? Let's find out as we follow along with Swiper on the Acrobatics Pip. Been a devastating choice for Cryptic.
Now, grouping up, they're actually navigating to an area of the map where I think that Invigorate didn't expect them to be. Typically, we see Pips on the peripheral map where Swiper is looking here and making sure they're not sitting in that angle. Actually lends Invigorate to be taken by surprise. Maglish picks up first blood as a response, and now Swiper can head to where they want to be and start shutting down isolated players.
Oh, this is great stuff by Swiper again. Now he's let off the leash. He finds 1 kill. He knows he has the man advantage. The mobility can't be as punished, especially his airborne time. Throws a heal even. I mean, that's how you know Pip is doing well. He can heal his teammates.
Pip can do that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's so rare. It's like, that's
I thought that was like, I thought that was like self-sustain. That's not like recovery?
No, absolutely not. But, you know, a lot of people do not believe that Pip can heal others.
It's very effective.
I don't
Even
blame
though
him.
we're not going to see Swiper pick up a very high healing at the end of this game, but 1,200 health where necessary, just 1,000 health, it can mean all the difference in a 1v1 duel.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that can win a team fight.
And it's dual healing. That's a great way to kind of phrase it, Box. It's just, you know, that healing you feel in those duels. And as you mentioned, the bounce of the Poppy Bomb can go either way, and sometimes winning one duel can help it to lean towards your team's favor. Salvo absolutely demolishing the Shield of Barrack as Invigorate looks to be on the defense. 1 minute, 57 seconds left on the clock. Team Cryptic clumping and closing in.
It's a pot of greed cell card. Nobody really knows what it does, but of course, when you throw out that healing potion, making all the difference so far. But this is where I feel like Team Cryptic with their Inara pickup is going to really come into play. Impasse is going to block off so much focus fire down this narrow causeway, even though Uniquestrokes is able to clean up Swiper and just build space for Cryptic to be able to push through.
That's good play by Uniquestrokes. If he can win that duel against Pip, and Swiper, it's going to be so important for Invigorate. Staying power, just that extra damage, not having to worry about the flank from Pip. Earthing Guard, all ready with the Tremors and excuse me, the totem there.
Oh, absolutely. And, just like 2 circles down the ground, probably with a loadout in Inara that's giving them some health restored whilst they're standing in their Waters field. Pops as well, the Earthen Guard, straight back up to full HP. Nothing to worry about. The Stone Warden going big here. Graham, though, is able to shut down Swiper, but still, it's up to Uniquestrokes to try and turn things around.
Gotta find Drogos out of the air. Uniquestrokes has a big job ahead of him.
Ooh, wow.
To finish it off. Pushes him back with the Impale Arrow, and it's enough for GoochMob to find the kill and force Team Cryptic back. Now with 50 seconds left on the clock, Uniquestrokes able to get a lot of damage. May even finish off the Grok. Force the Ghost Walk. Will they get him? No. Just clips the top edge of the mini glacier there, so they will escape with their lives.
Uniquestrokes' job just got a lot harder in that last defense. Both Dome Shield as well as Assert Dominance used by Invigorate just to hold on and defend. Team Cryptic are returning with 28 seconds left on the clock, and they're sitting on Seismic Crash. They're sitting on Tempest. Just those 2 abilities together could push this payload through, but they've also got a Polymorph.
Now Ashton maybe be missing that Assert Dominance that would have kept her alive no matter what. Shaolin has the Heat Haze, and here it is, the Seismic Crash. There's the Tempest. Oh, Grahamahlama finds 2 off the back of that, though. And so this is good for Invigorate. They've actually tied it up. If one more goes down, it will be Invigorate falling here. Team Cryptic look to have a big advantage.
Bad place to use the Barrage ultimate from Victor there, just easily chunked through by Stone Spear. Uniquestrokes not contesting, but is able to move a nice impasse placement, tries to force the payload through, but line of sight is maintained by Invigorate. Good map presence, and that's the Impaler Arrow that we needed to see, countering out the weightless ability from Pip with that double jump, keeps them locked down. Sorrow takes down Swiper, defense successful, 1-1.
And that's some exciting stuff there, of course, for them to just have morale-wise an ability to deal with Swiper consistently. Sometimes you get the kill and it's a lucky kill because he's been dominating the game. But if you find 1, 2, 3, you start to understand that this is something we can do. this is how we can start impacting the game, and hopefully Uniquestrokes has that impact going into this next fight.
Also, very much a morale boost as well to be able to make a defense there with ultimates available for Team Cryptic. Invigorate already having used some of theirs, just holding them off through gameplay alone is very, very beneficial. Of course, respawn proximity advantage goes through to the defending team with the payload that close, but at the same time, Team Cryptic could have just tried to roll straight on through, and they did, utilizing Tempest as well, but they kept Evil Mojo, as well as Drogos with Dragon Punch in the tank.
Strokes, again, looking to find one. Hits Grok for 1,000. The Salvo does a lot of work, diminishes their shield. And Ash goes hers there as well. Pip, is he going to go down? Uniquestrokes maybe looking for Swiper. Finds the impale on the Storm. Misses it as he's running away. And AkimboMistiK finds the kill. Deicide onto Invigorate yet again. Team Cryptic familiar with this scene.
Just such a gutting situation for Invigorate there. That Charlene needed a little bit more in terms of draw time on the bow to have the shot not drop off down beneath Drogos. Even if it's just a trade, it's credits in the bank, right?
Yeah.
It's something in your team's morale to be able to pick up a kill, but 87% now, 90 and climbing. No sign of getting back towards the objective. The zone is too strong. Cryptic 2-1 right now at 6 minutes and 9 in and looking very, very strong.
And a lot of mobility. You look at Aerial Assault Ruckus, you look at Acrobatics Pip, you look at Drogo, the ability to traverse space, maybe when they need to get back and contest a point, my opinion, definitely lands in favor of Team Cryptic. Invigorate gonna have to win this straight out. So far, falling quickly. They've got 2 members down here as the push starts.
Damage dealt is actually favoring Invigorate in the top 2 players so far through the duration of this game. Shaolin, Victor, relatively unmitigated from range, but when that fight is brought to them, they're really struggling to stay alive here. Damage numbers might be good, but the healing numbers are what I'm potentially interested to see from this Totemic War drop so far, as everybody is staying alive.
Oh, big barrage there. Maglish almost goes down, but stays alive, luckily. And they're going to all retreat. Invigorate doing enough to just stave them off. Scare them away just a little bit. Now here's Ruckus looking to find one big kill. Can they get Sorrow? Hiding behind a pillar. Going to rocket boots away. Goes to the bush, but gets taken down.
Very important kill. Very good totem placement as well from the squad of Team Cryptic, just ensuring that everybody was able to get healed up out of combat for the accelerated boost, but also out of the line of Cauterize. So straight back up to full HP, 1 minute 15 on the clock. 2-1, looking to push through. Ultimates are back on the table.
There's the Assert Dominance. Trying to stay alive. It's on the payload. She has an opportunity here. Not only AkimboMistiK's going in with the Hexafire, trying to chase things around, gets Grahamahlama, gets Shudder. That's a damage dealer and a healer down. And oh boy, AkimboMistiK takes down Uniquestrokes as well. This is looking dismal for Invigorate.
See, this is where you want the Assert Dominance. It was used in combination with the Dome Shield again. Those are kind of either-or abilities. It's they buy time for your team, they force the enemies away, and they zone the objective. Both at the same time only grants really efficacy to just one. If the Assert Dominance is down, players are avoiding the area. Dome Shield used in the same spot, not going to pick up any value there. Misplays from Invigorate to be able to use both those at the same time, and Assert Dominance could have maybe allowed Respawn Proxy to grant them another defense. As it is, they're now down 3-1.
Invigorate nodding to their teammates, winking his Shudder. Still feeling confident, but look at that stone cold killing face right there. Only AkimboMistiK. Cheery guy when you meet him, when you talk to him in the food line, but man, is he serious down to business right now.
Game sense is coming in. These players are stone cold and secured on their path to victory so far. Can they pull out another victory in this next objective fight, though? They're ready straight to the objective. All of Team Cryptic. I'm excited to see how this one kicks off. Evil Mojo is ready, finds nobody.
Whoa! Missed the Evil Mojo. That's not what Swiper was expecting, but the fact that they're able to still clean up this team fight almost handily means that there's just something good going on the Cryptic consoles, and man, their controllers seem to be working maybe a little bit better than Invigorate's here.
It's just positioning at this point. It's held the high ground superior by Team Cryptic.
Sure it's not cheat codes?
I'm pretty sure that it's. I mean, up, down, left, right. Is it? It's PS4. What's the equivalent of BA?
Circle. Circle X.
Circle.
Right?
I'm an Xbox player.
Oh, okay.
Always have been.
There it is.
I got you to bring the knowledge, man. I've got to know about those buttons.
I'm a console baby.
Yeah?
Grew up playing console.
Always used to be, and then I switched to PC at one point and just took my life over. But still a big fan of thumbstick, still a big fan of seeing these players play. They do manage to get back to the objective. Invigorate had the chance to contest, but Stormavatar unmitigated, so much damage.
So unfortunate here for Invigorate as they seem to just fall down one by one without any real contest against Team Cryptic, having won the first point fight and so many tools to zone at their disposal. It surely will be Team Cryptic with yet another victory, sealing themselves a 3-1 lead here in the PS4 finals. You see Nick doing his little dance on the way out of there, and out of backstage, and now you see that the smile dance coming forward on some of these Cryptic teams.
I would go so far as to say that Cryptic, that's a smile not just of confidence, but also of relief. I don't think they were expecting a Frog Isle game result.
No.
That very much caught them by surprise. The Bomb King draft, the double AoE, that was a confident play. They thought they could pull it off. Was not the case. Now, with the ball back in their court, feeling much more favorable. Scoreboard on your screen, Ioni or B subbing in for Team Cryptic. Highest kills, highest assists on their team, with the exception of AkimboMistiK on Grok, because that shock pulse just bounces around everybody. But 12, 2, and 17 on a Ruckus, staying alive that much. Very impressive.
Ioni op B, absolutely impressive, but so is Maglish, who we saw had that stone face. 9-1 and 12 for him. 248 seconds on the objective time. The next closest was on his team with 1:30. The next closest after that was 79. Everyone on, obviously, the side of Invigorate had a maximum of 49 objective time. So pretty insane how much he was able to dominate and control the space on the Inara. And that's what Team Cryptic are here to do. They want to win. They're one game away from being crowned the victor of the PS4 scene.
Maybe the Tyra?
You ready for it now?
I'm ready for it now.
All right.
No, but it was very interesting to see that game, especially Inara babysitting the payload so much. And we often see supports back on the objective, really taking care of them, able to heal from a distance.
Yeah.
Not the case when you're rocking the Grok. The Grok is played offensively, able to go up and deal damage, able to slow players down, get the dismounts rolling through. A very crucial and keystone part of that performance from Team Cryptic. Definitely something which worked out for Invigorate. I'm starting to wonder if that's going to be the more contested pick as we get ready for the next map up in this set.
The picks are changing. We saw Ruckus being very contested. They let it go now, knowing that the Ashe had a great performance on Frog Isle, but Ashe not as effective here on Frozen Guard as she typically is on that wide open map with a lot of ledges to knock people off. So they lose the value, they end up losing the battle. The maps are ready for game number 5. And it will be Fish Market, which again has a lot of ledges. I can see Ashe being prioritized here as well, Lux.
Certainly could do. Maybe some Torval play, although that's a little bit less common on console. I think that so much this is going to come down to the battle of the supports. Who do we take? Do we draft a Ying? Do we draft a Grok? Do we go for the wildcard Maldamba? Maybe we're going to go for a Ceres as well. I think if one team takes Grok, Ceres loses a lot of efficacy just due to the fact that we can see convergence counted out by Totemic Ward. That doesn't mean she's not a good support still. She has a lot of healing available, and that might actually make the difference for one of these teams.
And again, the lack of Maldamba, if you're a PC player, you're just scratching your head. How? Why? So good. Of course, this is console, and there's a different skill set. There's different, characters that shine here. We've seen a lot of Victor played. We've obviously seen a lot of Acrobatics Pip. In fact, that seems to be the factor for me. If I'm Cryptic, every time we've played Acrobatics Pip, we've won. I'm first or second picking that one.
Well, they're going to first pick Ruckus here. Invigorate do have the opportunity to draft the Acrobatics Pip away from Cryptic. We'll have to see if that is highly prioritized, as Ashe is picked up first.
Yep.
And Pip is drafted in. A wise decision. This does leave Cryptic open to counterplay. Do they have an answer for Acrobatics Pip is my big question to that team.
What's interesting is that it's almost more valuable in this set to get a second pick because of to go second, because you get your front line, and yeah, you don't get Ruckus, but you get somebody stable and you get the Pip. You can't really prioritize the Pip, otherwise you really lose your choice of the front line at first pick. So we've often seen it go to the second pick team, and now it's Invigorate's turn as Cryptic grab Barrack and Ceres in response.
So Barrack and Ceres in line for Cryptic, a very strong point hold on Fish Market. They can get established, get those turrets down, a lot of targets to shoot at. Grok still available, not prioritized by Cryptic here, could be picked up, and very strong indeed it is. Victor and Grok locked in for the team fighting out of the red corner actually this time, as they are second pick, despite how the colors look at the top of your screen.
Now, Invigorate with the Grok, great selection, 2 healers for the squad. The Victor still being leaned on by Graham, who had a very good performance on Frog Isle, trying to replicate that yet again here on Fish Market in this best of 7 series, and this basically do or die game for them. Cryptic, they don't look too bad about getting Tyra. They've grabbed her and Androxus to follow along. Will we finally see the Androxus you've been talking about?
And I feel like this is really what Cryptic have been able to do. They know that they can't keep on running Acrobatics Pip. It loses its efficacy as time goes by. Players get more used to it. They understand that actually we've got to draft this away. But Cryptic, they know the counters. If Tyra is picked up, Acrobatics Pip is going to make a beeline for them. Who do you counter with that with? A Ceres who can heal Tyra no matter really where they are on the map, as well as an Androxus who can quickly navigate to the backline and help shut Pip down.
Now, of course, Fernando last picked, allowing Invigorate a little bit more presence. Ash and Fernando often seen as a ship in the realm. What do you think about that? Do you ship Ash and Fernando?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what, you know what I'm talking about? I don't believe you.
Captain always goes down with that ship.
Oh, wow. See, you're just looking for a pun. That's what I have to deal with. Like,
Every opportunity.
He just pretends he doesn't know what I'm saying and then just buys time to just pun me.
Can we get a steampunk skin for those two? Can they be a steam-powered ship?
Steam pun skin.
A steampunk.
Got him.
You got me.
Got him.
You got him.
Oh.
I let one go to Rain Day. I'm never going to live this down. He's going to pull all of my jokes now.
You can just go ahead and hold this L right
Oh,
here,
yeah.
Fox.
Hold this.
Yeah, absolutely. The Paladins foam hand I handed him here. And, of course, as we get ready to go into the battle, Team Cryptic, they're facing moving on into the finals. This is pretty exciting for them. Although Invigorate, they look focused. They don't want to give this one up quite yet. Not dejected at all. I think they still believe they have some games in them.
They've got to be able to, but the key utilization for me is going to come down to how has Fernando played on this map?
Yeah.
You've got Ash, who has a bit of range to them. Fernando, a short-range frontliner, doesn't bring a great deal of damage to the objective fight. That's one thing that typically lacks in a lot of console play at lower tier. You're going to have to see if Fernando can make up for that, and Master Riding has been drafted. Expect them to go straight to the back line, running their FN01 Helios skin set. And indeed, they actually go straight to the objective and just get established initially. This will force a rotation from Cryptik. Graham might be in trouble.
15% already on the point. 21 for Invigorate. They've done a decent thing here. If they can stay alive, they've definitely got themselves an advantage. All it is about winning the poke war now. With 42% still on the point, they've essentially won a half a fight without even fighting.
This is very dangerous as well as Barrett drops down onto the low ground here in a significant amount of trouble. Ruckus tries to get towards the objective. Swiper at last picks up first blood on the Graham. Stormavatar cleans up Shudder. And with the support down, that'll be the rest of Invigorate crumbling over time as they no longer have the sustain to fight out against the whittling pressure of that fireball.
Hold on, Vox. They have a pip. That's technically a support.
That's your opinion. My experience tells me otherwise, and Pip is now under a lot of pressure.
Absolutely. Uniquestrokes getting burned by the Tyra Molotov and, of course, the Firebomb, as that's called in the game, and Swiper the one on the Androxus showing that high tier. They took away his acrobatics pip, but it seems like he hasn't missed a stride.
I feel like Swiper just likes being in the air, right? It's either they're playing acrobatics pip and they're spending time on the high ground, or they're playing Androxus. They just like floating, you know. I wonder if they have a Willow in them as well, or maybe a Drogos too.
I wonder if they do. I mean, that would be an exciting thing to see because obviously Willow yet to be picked up in the console or the PCC in this tournament in Valencia. But tell you what's been picked up. These hands. Swiper the one sends the reversal right over to GoochMob and says, see you later, back to base.
I wonder if we can get some foaming hands for Androxus for reversal.
Yeah, catch these Paladins foam hands. I don't think Androxus would take that to battle, man. He's dealing with something a little bit more dangerous. Hitting a couple of these shots midair as well. Again, one more. 1288. He goes around the corner using the map perfectly. Swiper the one still impressing no matter what champion he's on.
Just beautiful. Power of the Abyss resets cooldown of Metastep, enables Swiper to get out of danger, get out of dodge. And although we're seeing everybody on Team Cryptic retreat now, they're mostly not died during the entire duration of this payload push. Now the mid-round buys are going to come through. They're only going to come back stronger. Invigorate Gaming are playing very aggressively here. I'm worried about overextension.
I'm worried, but I'm also excited. I think that Uniquestrokes and Invigorate, they need to do something different. They've got to take a different tone to their play. I like the overextension, even if it was a little bit too far, just to say we're not scared of you guys. We're ready to compete. We are not giving this one up easily. The Catalyst pip taken away too, saying we don't need to play your game. We'll make sure you don't have acrobatics pip, but I'm going to go Catalyst because that's what I like.
This Swiper just does not care about that. He's just bringing the damage. Double kill picked up from the back of the Cursed Arm, as well as Shudder taken down. Post Tempest as well. It'll be up to Ash with barely a sliver of health remaining.
Gosh, how much health
sustain? Not much.
It's got to be like 1 health. I don't know how much health Ash has,
single digits.
It has got to be single digits. They're still alive. Actually, no, she falls and Fernando is here. Getting healed up is Swiper, and on the 9 streak. And boy, oh boy, this just does not look like he's a stoppable force right now.
I feel like the ship is sinking, Evan, honestly. They're both wearing armor. Come on, that's going to be heavy. Is it a roaring boat that we're dealing with here? Dome shield used, that's going to buy some time. My goodness.
Not something that they want absolutely in their, I think, ship romance.
Yeah.
This novella is not working out the way they planned, and of course, the romance is missing a little bit here when they're both being just taken apart by Swiper and his team. Team Cryptic halfway to actually claiming the PS4 throne. This is a big deal.
This certainly is very, very close. One last game, as you remarked, could be all that makes the difference here. Invigorate Gaming have got to find a way back into it. They had a strong initial hold with good point control early, and now with comeback mechanic, if they try the same strategy again, they'll probably gain about 50% capture. The problem comes with Fish Market being an area on the map where we saw Cryptic rotate around the high ground. High ground control allows these players to just shoot down towards the objective and funnel all their damage in. It's hard to return that when you don't have the elevation. I would love to see, instead of the Fernando jumping straight to the objective, this team working as a unit to sniff out their enemies first, disrupt the side of Team Cryptic, and work as a group to dismantle their enemies around the outside and then focus in.
Maybe a big fireball to start things off could help Invigorate swing the battle at the beginning. Of course, going to the point didn't work for them, but if they did get that 52% now, because of the comeback mechanic, it'd be more about 70%, maybe putting them in a good position to win the point fight. But here's an early Hexafire by IonlyOpB, finds one kill, but Graham and Gooch, they find two.
GoochMob able to answer back with a kill on the Stormavatar, pokes their head out though and does get punished as a result, but still holding the angle. Graham, staying alive, has not been taken out by the flanker Swiper this time and is able to bring damage to the fight, something that was missing beforehand, but a big headshot from Swiper shuts Pip down.
Look at this, Saris buying so much time. Maglish actually sneaks in, no one's looking at him. The shield blocked from Fernando, making sure that convergence is useless, but oh boy, Team Cryptic pull the loop-de-loop and circle around. Everyone on Invigorate gets pulled to Saris, and they allow Barrick to jump back on the objective.
On the objective, though, it's going to be Ash. 2 kills already in this engagement. Staying alive is GoochMob, and if they're able to hold this thing down, then they may be able to buy some time for their team, but finished off at last, and Swiper cleaning up Uniquestrokes, going immortal here, has allowed the recap to come through. 99% for Invigorate. Team Cryptic, they are now capturing it their own way.
Swiper on a 17 streak, and he is definitely a big part of why this team keeps winning. The headshot on headshot here. Godslayer coming through, not going to find anything, won't even reset the dashes, so he's stuck and forced to fight. Going to get around a corner. The shock pulse hitting him, but he's getting healed up by Saris in the meantime.
Also, big ultimate use. That barrage was activated by Graham, didn't find anything on the objective, and Swiper continues to find damage from above. Ash going to contest for just a second. AkimboMistiK, though, shuts them down.
See you later. Team Cryptic take the third objective in this game, and again, are one payload conversion away from being the PS4 champions. If it was anything like last round, it won't take long at all. 7 minutes only have gone by in this game, and it is about to be over. Invigorate facing defeat squarely in the face.
This time around, very important to maintain better positioning for Invigorate. They have to be aware of Swiper coming up and over the top of the Fish Market houses, looking within the Cursed Arm, and to be able to respond to that effectively. The only way they really have of doing so, however, happens to be an Immortal, so Fernando's positioning is paramount here.
Stormavatar on the 9th street definitely would help to get him down. Fireball, but no running, not running the Scorch. So that won't gain the bonus damage, and of course the Molotov now will help spread everyone out. Look at this isolation, throws up the shield, has to, but still has to run over the firebomb. Is he gonna go down? No, getting healed up with the Totemic Ward. Very, very close there.
Very close indeed. Stormavatar also on Tyra, rocking out with Wrecker as their offensive itemization here. Unusual, as we most often see hit scan champions going into cards such as, or items such as Cauterize, there is easy application. Convergence use, countered out by Totemic Ward. Good defense from Invigorate so far, but Barrage has been used to only pick up 2 here. Is that going to be enough?
Not enough at all. In fact, that Immortal allowed them to get out of that very quickly and just save that damage and CC immunity there that Fernando was providing. So a very good ultimate by the Spaniard, showing value in being picked up on the defensive end, but still yet to find the elusive point. If they hold here, they could get their first point on the board.
It's going to be very important for Uniquestrokes now on Pip to be able to defend and just poke enemies as much as possible. Ultimates across the board. Team Cryptic sitting on 3. They have Hexafire, Dome Shield, and Crossfire to try and convert. Invigorate only have Tempest and the Polymorph available to them. Hexafire activated in the face of a Fernando shield. Tempest used to keep everybody topped up. Good defense so far. And will they elect to use anything else?
That might be it. It depends on if Fernando can stay alive here. How much damage will go through. He's getting real close, but the shield pops up just in time. He's got to get a heal right now. It's a little bit from Pip, still sitting at half health. Fernando looks to be safe here as he stands into the Totemic Ward. Healing Totem, 16 seconds left. It's all up to Invigorate to stop this push. And is it Team Cryptic maybe backing off here?
They look like they are. They don't want to give anything more to the side of Invigorate. They know that some ultimates were just used, sitting on 2 of their own still. Dome Shield and Crossfire, both very, very useful for point control. They seem more content to actually hold that back and take the, how do we say this? They're going to take the slow route here. They're going to take the safe route. They're not going to try and push through. They know that they have the objective advantage. Just capitalize on that.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of the way Graham was even just looking right now, it's almost like, all right, they gave up. They stopped trying. They did it on purpose. Like, we defended, but if they really gave their all, would we have defended there? There's a lot of hesitation I can see from Invigorate because they're just narrowly escaping living another day in this game.
In 15
Very
seconds.
much so. And you can see on their faces all focus for the team wearing the blue jerseys. Invigorate Gaming ready to try and get their capture on. It is 3-1 in the score so far. Team Cryptic hold only one capture away from victory here.
Be crowned the PS4 champion and face off against the Xbox champion in the culmination of this first $50,000 console adventure in Valencia, the console wars. Right before the PC finals here again on Sunday in Valencia. You can find it on Paladins game. And of course, GoochMob now trying to make sure he gets his Paladins game up to the next level, but unfortunately will miss the shoulder bash. He'll get on the point like he wants. Goes into the ultimate a little early.
Just dissuading enemies, I think, for the most part. They can't be damaged. They're still holding all of their health. A Cursed Arm used to shut down Graham. That's a good move from Swiper just to take the force of nature. That damage Victor off the table, out of the equation. Dome Shield has now been used by Barak. This is evening the field and an annihilation for Swiper.
I mean, that was a great comeback opportunity with the assert dominance. I felt like Invigorate maybe used that a little too early. And when they had control over it and it wasn't being taken away, but now Team Cryptic sitting pretty, 51% on the objective, zoning now. Swiper on a 23 streak, yet to kill this guy. There's an outlier if I've ever seen it.
And honestly, just here's the problem. Barrage comes down, Swiper might die. No, that keeps them safe for the time being. Graham finds nothing. Oh, no, does find stormavatar for that ultimate on the objective as well. Sitting very pretty there will be all the red members of Invigorate. Overtime is ticking. Contesting is Barak. Sarah's shut down, though. It's up to Swiper to go in. Are we about to see a death now?
He's got
Swiper's not going to die.
Yeah, he's just saying, okay, I'm not giving anybody the streak. Invigorate, come back. And despite all odds here, fantastic performance by Invigorate, and they give Graham, oh man, he already had his ultimate, I think, so that would have been some crazy ultimate charge ending that streak.
You've got a situation where you just want to take him out immediately. You don't want to give really this Androxus the chance to try and duel. Just sitting there, it's going to be headshot, headshot, headshot. Goodbye, Victor. Shut down. And so just eliminating them, even not maybe gaining the maximum efficiency. A good move. And Team Cryptic on defense, we are yet to see them so far on defense on this map. We're going to have to see how they fare versus Fernando specifically, as they're able to frontline the payload very, very well. And another barrage from Graham, finding nobody.
Canceling it out as well, retaining 61%, realizing not much coming from this one. Let's just hold on to it for a better time, retain some of that ultimate charge and move forward. A minute and 50, now a minute and 40. Crossfire lit up by Tyra, but Victor with that hipfire doing just as much damage, throwing 2 grenades, hitting the clump, and now Starro finds a kill on the Maglish. GoochMob grabs one of his own.
And I really like the prioritization coming out from Graham throughout the duration of that fight. They know that Fernando is safe in keeping everybody alive with Immortal, so they just focus fire on Ceres, distracting, making sure that she cannot heal up the team. In the backline, Swiper is taken down. Double kill for Graham here. Payload so close to conversion. Barak dives in. There is totemic ward down, so nobody on Invigorate. Captain CC'd. Ruckus goes up, Ruckus goes down. And will Ash be the saving grace here? Will she be able to knock Ceres away from the objective?
Oh my goodness gracious. What we're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is a tie game. I cannot believe my eyes. They turned that around in the blink of an eye in a second. And now it is all squared away. This is the point that's going to decide whether Invigorate keep this a real contentious set or Team Cryptic walk away with a pretty well-earned victory.
Well, the big problem to me comes down to the fact that every single round we've seen Fernando and Grok dive straight to the objective.
Yeah.
This leaves around the peripheral of the fight a 3v5 in favor of Team Cryptic. If we're not seeing Fernando actually participate in all these fights, we're seeing them fight at a disadvantage. Invigorate have to work as a group. They cannot afford to try and go for early cap based off of comeback mechanic anymore. That's not in the game. It's 3-3. It's all tied up. They have to take the even playing field. They cannot fight at their own advantage.
And Cryptic are going to have to prove they're just that much better than Invigorate if they really want to earn the title of the best PS4 team in North America and Europe. Fine. Look at this hip fire, Victor. Oh, the barrage doesn't get anything out for it. Swiper gets the kill, and that Victor ultimate just gets nothing.
And really importantly as well, Swiper used a Cursed Arm just for the shutdown. Hexafire from Ioni or B does get the shutdown in combination with Swiper on the shutter. No more sustain for Invigorate. They all fall down. Team Cryptic looking good at 21% and rising, tied up 3-3. 14:20 on the clock. This game looks like it may already be over.
But look at this. Swiper's not willing to go ahead and just move any farther.
Cautious play.
Trying to get a little bit of the dismount, but he's playing very cautious. It's going to give Team Cryptic a necessary time to defend against Invigorate. They're going to have a chance to get on this objective.
They will do, but Dome Shield goes down. That'll buy some space. Swiper traverses the map, picks up the pip that they saw navigating around the backside of the map, and now turns their attention to Ashe. Battering ram still alive. She does get shut down, though. Stormavatar with the double kill, looking for a triple as Victor goes down to Swiper. Rampage, and 5 in a row for Team Cryptic. That's the capture, that's the game, and the set.
Congratulations to the winners of the PS4 Finals. Team Cryptic from Europe take the W and will represent, obviously, PS4 in the console wars on Sunday here at Dreamhack Valencia. The boys were so excited, they go ahead and celebrate with each other, congratulate each other with hugs. Swiper the one, just a stunning performance, but each member of that team proved their worth over the course of the game.
Each member of the team did their own job. I think that's what it really comes down to. Swiper, they played phenomenally, got so many kills where they needed to, but they're playing the flank. That's their role. Everybody else, they're doing what they need to. The front line is on the objective. In the back line, we have the supports doing exactly what they need to keep these teams alive. These are players that know how to play good Paladins, and they're looking to continue that as they do advance through to the finals.
Well, good Paladins is what today has been about. It's been fantastic to watch, not only the PC games, but now the PS4 console finals. Let's take a look at the final stats for today as we round out this set, which was won 4-1. Best of 7 series by Team Cryptic. Relatively handily, but also it could have gone either way. Very exciting stuff here. Graham still keeping top of the damage for his team, but wow, 119,000 damage from stormavatar. I gotta say, Swiper the one, 22-2.
And that's key.
That's
It's the flankers going through and picking up those damage, those kills at the end. But again, stormavatar doing their job as damage and taking everybody out. The bracket on your screen, as you can see, it's a 4-1 in the PS4-1. Advancing through the finals are Team Cryptic.
And we do have tomorrow, you'll see the Xbox One finals match between Strictly Business and Gangstars coming up. So again, we'll have the semifinals for the Paladins PC, and then that, so you can check out and see what you want to see if you want to watch some more console. It's been exciting for both of us to cast. Thank you, Vox, for the cast. Of course, my name's been Rain Day. Let's send it over to the team that won, Team Cryptic, and of course, Nick, Hi-Rez, Pretty Hair, Kyo, and see what they have to say about their win on stage.
Thank you so much, Evan. I'm standing here with Mr. Swiper himself of Team Cryptic, who have just secured their spot in the Console Wars Finals. I gotta say, you guys were off to a really, really strong start there. Hit a couple of bumps along the way, but you pulled it out in the end. The pip was amazing. A lot of rumors swirling around that you might be not only the best pip, but one of the best console players flat out, period. And I gotta ask for the fans, what do you prefer, the pip or the Androxus?
Honestly, I don't really mind what I play. I like Pip because I can just distract everyone and they can look at me while killing them. But even if I don't kill them and they're focused on me, my team can just push them and take advantage of that. And that happened on Frozen Guard, actually. I just jumped at them, they all focused me, and I didn't do too well, but my team just capitalized on that really well.
It is a team game at the end of the day, and I gotta say, you didn't look super uncomfortable when they did take the pip away. You looked just as comfortable on the Androxus, and would you say that that's the case?
I'm even more comfortable on Androxus. I don't even care what I can play. If they take my pip, I feel even more comfortable.
Wow, well, there it is. One other question I have for you is, you know, everybody relatively new to Paladins on console. Did you guys get some help from the Team Cryptic PC team? Because your mechanics look flawless, but were they at all helpful to you in terms of your strategies and drafts and that sort of things, or did you just kind of pave your own way?
I mean, we tried talking with them, but they said that they couldn't actually watch any of our games due to PC and console. You can't look at replays, so unfortunately they couldn't help us, but they were willing to.
Awesome stuff from Team Cryptic. Congratulations, sir. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the main stage. Guys, that's going to do it. Thank you so much from wherever you were watching today, sticking with us. I know we had a long day. We got more action coming for you tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. Streams are going live 1:30, and the games start at 2 p.m. We are going to have the schedule on screen for you guys after the show. As again, I'm going to do Rain Day's outro here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Never give up. Never stop gaming, and we'll see you tomorrow.